Okay, so I just got off a flight, and this thing happened that I did not know happened in real life. I'd only ever seen this in movies, which is the pilot got on and said, "Is there a doctor on board?" But then this thing happened that I've never even seen in a movie. There was no doctor on board. Nobody stood up. We just all kind of waited, and then we murmured, and then it got kind of awkward. And then the pilot came back on the thing, and he was like, he sounded annoyed. He was like, seriously, there's got to be a doctor here. But he sounded annoyed. We was like, oh no, we've upset Plane Daddy. You know, he's going to be like, somebody better learn CPR right now, or you're all going to bed without peanuts. I will pull this plane over, mister. So we wait a little while, and then he comes back on, and he goes, okay, is there a nurse on board? We were like doing an auction. He was taking bids for how much education the person who had to deal with this person was. If we waited long enough, it was going to be like, is there a dental hygienist on board? Has anyone on board played Operation? I did have to take a 1-hour CPR class in high school, so I feel like I'm just wondering like how long before I have to volunteer. You know how like if like 73 people in a row die, the mayor of Cincinnati becomes president? I think it's like that. Fortunately, though, there was a nurse, and the guy died anyway. Really makes you think, though. No, he was fine. He was just dehydrated. But I do assume that because we're in the sky, you know, she was probably out of network, so I'm sure he paid $12,000 for that. I have nothing to hide, which is a shame, because I love hiding stuff. I love making or buying secret hiding places. So, like, I love hollowing out books, and, you know, people either say, well, probably you'd hide drugs in there. Well, I don't do drugs, but I do take Flonase for my seasonal allergies. So I put those in this one because that kind of feels like doing drugs. But my whole apartment is filled with stuff like this. Totally normal permanent marker. Inside is a smaller permanent marker. Copy of Inside Baseball to hide my tiny baseball. This is a normal looking giant bolt that I just keep in my closet. You can screw off the bottom and you can fit a tiny vial in there, which is perfect for, that's my Claritin. That's my other allergy medicine. There is nothing cooler than a wall safe behind framed art, and I'm not allowed to poke holes in my wall because it's a rental, but this is a picture of a wall safe, which is almost as good since I wouldn't have anything to put in the wall safe anyway. In the fridge, I've got a totally normal-looking Dr. Pepper, but of course the top screws off, and inside that is my Benadryl, or Bennies. These are for my nighttime allergies. Back of my car looks like tire foam. This is where I store my Dramamine, which is kind of like I'm allergic to motion, too. And this looks like it's just 4 Shakespeare B-sides together, but if you pull out the bottom, there's actually a can of peaches. But the can of peaches is fake, and inside is a rock. But that rock is fake, it's a hide key, and that key is perfect for opening the dictionary, which is secretly a metal safe, and inside that, I put the Dr. Pepper, and the tire foam, and the pages from the Shakespeare books, and the peaches, which I'm allergic to.
This feels like a safe space, right? I mean, I know it's public, but the people I'm talking about don't use this app, so I think I'm okay. But I'm staying with my wife's family this weekend for the holidays, right? They're wonderful people. I love them dearly, but they are all skinny, beautiful, outdoorsy people. And I am a chubby indoor cat. I just want to sit on a couch, maybe look out a window, see a bird. That's a great day for me. And they don't eat. They don't eat enough, you guys. They don't eat. It's crazy. Like, I travel with protein bars in all of my jacket pockets, like I'm going to the Arctic. Last time I was visiting, my mother-in-law said this thing where she said it was like it was funny. She was like, some days I don't even feel like lunch. Who doesn't feel like lunch? I feel like lunch right now. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. I would eat another meal. The only time I've ever said, I don't feel like lunch, I think, is when I was looking at a brunch menu and I saw French toast instead. And then they want to do stuff. They want to go outside. They want to have adventures in the outdoors. I'm like, last year they wanted to go snowshoeing. Like, I'm on a starvation diet. You're going to take me to the woods? That's how the Donner Party started. No, there's no way. And that's when I realized that's why they bring me along for outdoor activities, is in case we get stranded. They're all very skinny, and I am nicely marbled, right? Like, if you play Oregon Trail, do you take 1,000 squirrels or 1 buffalo? You take the buffalo. I'm a buffalo. I'm so much extra meat. I bet a month into eating me, my mother-in-law would be like, haha, it's weird. I don't even feel like eating Alex today.
Guys, what is with American companies and their weird side hustles? I'm watching the NBA playoffs the other day, and they're playing in the Ball Arena. My wife sees it, and she sees the logo, and she's like, is that the Mason Jar people? What are they doing with stadium naming money? Are they like secretly also defense contractors or something? They are absolutely in defense contracting. In the 1950s, they pivoted hard and started making satellites. They were like, hey, we're so good at canned peaches, we should try war. And you know what they don't make? jars. They got out of the jar business. They're too busy in aerospace. And then I went down this crazy rabbit hole of all these different companies where they're like, yeah, we make a thing you've heard of, but our true passion is war machines. AMF makes bowling alley equipment and funny, aggressive animations. They also make nuclear power plants and missile launch systems,
Which means some of their animations were not that far off.
Honeywell, home security air conditioning, also the autopilot system that we use to drop the bomb.
Singer made typewriters and sewing machines and pew pew. Texas Instruments makes calculators and also big pew pew. General Electric has made toasters and fighter planes, and I know they're general, but I didn't know they were that general.
And just a couple years ago, John Deere and the Roomba company joined forces to make an automated robot that patrols around military bases. No matter what you manufacture in this country, at some point, the government is going to show up and be like, hey, we loved your work on bowling pins. How would you like to kill?
Ditch this and please explain to me what you mean by marriage is hard.
You have to pick stuff to eat every day, multiple times a day, every day for the rest of your life. It's relentless. You're constantly in a state of needing to figure out what to eat. Figure out a restaurant that's open that you both like, you haven't gone to too recently, it's not too expensive. I do most of the cooking, and you have to pick recipes that you both are willing to eat, but that also isn't too much work. And you make the meal and you eat the meal and you're like, oh, this is so awesome. And then that moment is fleeting because right after that, congratulations, now you have to do dishes. And I know single people eat. I get that. But when we are like temporarily single, when one of us is on vacation or whatever, the other person reverts to being a trash goblin. Like I eat over this. Last time she was gone, I was eating over the sink. I swallowed a whole rack of Thin Mints in one go like a snake. I wouldn't do that when she's here, you know? Like, it's different when you have to eat in front of somebody else. When people say marriage is hard, that's what we're talking about.
Elon Musk is a weird loser, but is he a scam? Find out on my recurring segment. Is it a scam? Yep. He's been around Silicon Valley for a long time, first being fired as the CEO of Xbank and then being kicked out as the CEO of PayPal. But he's most known for founding Tesla. And by founding, I mean not founding, investing, kicking out the founders, and then later making a large settlement that allowed him to claim he was the founder. But his true passions are saying things out loud that aren't true and making predictions that don't happen. In 2011, he said we'd be to Mars in 10 years. Then in 2017, he said we'd be there by 2022. He's constantly claimed that we were moments away from full self-driving cars. He also said that by 2020, if you buy a Tesla, it will be able to work during the day without your help as a robo-taxi, going so far as to showing a completely fake app. In 2014, he promised that your car would be able to swap its battery within minutes so that he could get a bunch of government subsidies, numerous tunnel projects, and then ghosted all of the cities he was working with. The only tunnel he did build was in Las Vegas, which he said would be fully autonomous, but instead is just a guy in a car will drive you very slowly in traffic. He also later admitted that he made up the Hyperloop promise just to get California to stop working on high-speed rail. He promised that COVID would be over by April 2020, that Twitter would have 1 billion monthly users by 2023, that Starlink speeds would double by 2021, that solar tiles would be available at some point, and he personally promised to fix the Flint water crisis. But did he do that? Nope. And I know it's possible that he's not actually lying about all of these things. He's just a dumb person. So he's a fake founder who either lies about everything or doesn't understand any of the projects he's working on. But is he a scam? Yep. Here are more companies that seem like competitors but are actually owned by the same conglomerates. It's the illusion of choice. Illusion, Michael. Which is better, Hot Wheels or Matchbox? Doesn't matter. Mattel gets your money either way. They also don't care if you play with cars or dolls because they own most of the dolls, from Barbie and American Girl all the way down to Polly Pocket. But really, it feels like we're kind of in their pocket. Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Louis Vuitton, and a bunch of others are all competing for the attention of the fashion world, but it doesn't matter who wins because they're all owned by LVMH. And you can tell you're going to be the top of the conglomerate period when it is a generic sounding acronym. They also own a ton of perfumes and Sephora where they can sell it to you, and they own competing watch brands like Tag Heuer and Hublot, and then they own Tiffany's where they can sell those to you. And they probably celebrate rolling all those companies together with a champagne, which they also own. Almost all glasses you can buy are owned by a company called Luxottica, which sounds like that racing arcade game from the 90s, but they also own LensCrafters and the vision insurance company iMed, which will almost certainly refuse to pay for the glasses that they made that they sold you at the store that they own. And I know this makes it hard to sleep at night, but I hope you're not planning on doing that on a mattress, because in addition to conglomerating a lot of the mattress companies also bought all the mattress review companies. Casper actually sued a bunch of mattress reviewers for failing to disclose their financial relationships to mattress companies, and then they used the money from that settlement to buy mattress review companies. That is not a friendly ghost. That is some mafia shit. And you're probably wondering, aren't there antitrust laws? And that's a common misconception. There are laws, but they don't prevent monopolies. What they do is
let you know that you can't trust anybody to stop them. Every demo of an AI product seems like it was made by someone who has never met a human person. Last week, Amazon demoed their new Alexa, and there's a part in the demo where they have a restaurant picked out and they say, book an Uber for my friend Molly at JFK, and every part of that is insane. Molly doesn't know what car's looking for her, the car doesn't know what Molly looks like, and the pickup location is airport. Molly is dead now. They're all like that. Like Salesforce paid for a Super Bowl commercial.
The booking app I used didn't have Agent Force, so an AI agent didn't know to move my reservations inside or know what I like to eat, which is not that.
The ad is saying that if you book without their AI, restaurants will seat you outside even if it's raining and order for you, and that's not how restaurants work. Google's use cases are just as dumb, but are much, much sadder. This guy's daughter wants to be like this Olympic athlete, so he suggests she writes a letter, but they're going to use AI to do it because, quote,
It has to be just right.
no, it doesn't. There's no athlete in the world who is reading fan letters and is like, this 8-year-old wants to be like me, but she can't write for shit. They're so desperate to sell these terrible products that we didn't ask for that they have to make up scenarios that sound like they were written by an alien who came to infiltrate Earth, but then slept through the research phase. Send a car to airport for Earth friend. We will do normal human things, like eat rain shrimp and write fake letters to celebrities. I love it here. And then he's got socks on his hands and he's carrying a pizza box vertically. That's what they sound like.